prevention, planning, mitigation, response, and recovery. But our team, at this point in our community, which is Palm Beach County and which is Lake Worth, we're going to be walking on Lake Avenue down to Federal Highway, past Federal to A1A and back. And we're going to assess our community and become a community available task force for both public health comp, some injections into the community of report injections for public health medical response and recovery. This is Tiffany Kennedy, and I have first partner is Brian.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Brian. I have utmost care and support for this community, even though I've only lived here for 7 lucky months. I'll do the best I can to support what needs to be done. That being said, we're locked and loaded for this march around town. Thank you.
Magnetic spectrum. In the middle of it is the visible light spectrum. And at the far outer slow, long wave and our radio waves. This will be a radio wave emitting tower. And then after that on the spectrum are microwaves, then infrared waves, then the visible light waves, then UV, then X-ray, then gamma. Yeah. So in that spectrum, these waves are common in communication, satellite, and radio, for radio waves. However, there once, 10 years ago, was an upper limit of exposure, an exposure limit, which has since been removed from a 29 CFR 1910 OSHA law. And these new towers are going to emit 6 times the upper threshold, the upper exposure limit of where we were in 2010. And that was my job in the United States Air Force. I did surveys. I surveyed the radio frequency waves, ionizing and non-ionizing. Oh, it's just as a good point to describe, this is non-ionizing radiation. And what a dose of radio frequency waves does is that it cooks from extremities first, from the inside out. So your hands would be tingly, your feet would be tingly, your ankles would be tingly. And then from there, it's just a large dose of radio waves. We would take a measurement with a meter, calculate a power density, and then compare it to the OSHA standard upper threshold. But that threshold doesn't exist, so there's no comparison. So we are to be dosed at whatever this emits. Typically, I would then return to the location that had an antenna, and I would mount signage and fencing, because then we would go into a protocol of time, distance, and shielding to protect you from exposure, any human being from exposure. And so hopefully we can get some risk communication with the community members, all the stakeholders, and just have a conversation along those lines. And Brian would also like to, here's the input of a person newly familiarized with radio frequency waves. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, I have no knowledge or experience with dealing with radio frequency waves. I think it's wonderful we have someone such as Tiffany, who's very knowledgeable in that field from her expertise in working in the Air Force. We can only hope that it's for the better, not for the worse, what's in store for us eventually with this green ball of radio frequency.
I'm guessing it provides us some power supply. So this is kilowatt per hour. This is electrical. This is monitoring a the wattage per hour when radio waves are in frequency. So this is providing the power to emit the radio waves.